welcome to Ep.17, and a special welcome to all the new subscribers, and thank you for passing your comments on. I do appreciate that. Right, in this episode I'm going to be talking shamelessly about toilets. When I've been working on my boat, which I have been for many months now, it's been very difficult to plan your day out without a toilet on board. And as the boat is getting closer to being able to go out for a weekend or an extended period of time anyway, and especially with two female ladies aboard, it's going to be very, very difficult to plan your routes and everything else without a toilet. So it was time to fit one. Let's get this toilet installed. Right. And that's it. So see you on the next episode. What? You want a bit more than me just plonking a chemical toilet on the floor? Okay, we'll do a review on it. Right, the toilet I have chosen is the Porta Potty Excellence. This is their latest generation of chemical toilets, I'm led to believe, and they retail round about £100 to £150 depending on where you buy them from. It's quite a good self-contained unit and can be fitted virtually anywhere, and it is quite practical in many ways, and we'll cover the features in a second. But before we go any further, I'd just like to say that this is a brand new toilet. You're not going to see anything nasty or unpleasant. For those of you who are squeamish, this is how it's come out of the box. It's had no fluids of any type put in it. This is literally how I have unwrapped it. So we'll put it in the corner and we'll start looking into its features. Okay, it measures up at 388 by 450 by 450, so that might help you fit it into smaller gaps, whatever. Also, if you are tight for space, it's actually quite practical to pull these out slightly before you want to use them, and then you can push them out of the way. They're not too inflexible in that respect. The top freshwater holding tank, so if I open the lid underneath it, you will see in the corner there is a water fill, and this is a manual pump one. There are electric pumps, so this is a manual pump. And on the top there's nothing in it at the moment, it's empty. But there is a water level, and that is the fresh water or clean water for the flush. And it holds 15 litres of clean water for the flush. And then on the dirty side there is another, you can see that green gauge there. There is another gauge there, and that is the waste tank, and that holds 21 litres, and also gives you obviously an indication of whether the toilet's full or not. So let's start taking some bits and pieces off it and see what's involved in commissioning the toilet. Right, before you use the toilet or intend to use the toilet, you have to put some chemical in it first. So if I turn it round the other way, at the back here you'll see a little white lever, and that is the lock that locks the top half to the bottom half. And in the waste tank we're going to need to put some toilet additive and a small amount of water to get the system started. So we'll pull that lever, take the top half off, and we'll have a look at the waste tank. And there we are. The top half has been taken off, and it's very, very similar to all the other Thetford cassette toilets. It's a slightly different shape, but the principles are exactly the same. So this black disc here, that is a flap, and when you pull the lever on the toilet, which we'll cover in a moment, that will turn and it will open that, and that allows your waste into the waste tank. And then when you're finished, you pull the lever back to its start position, and it closes that off, and it seals the unit and stops any nasty smells and unpleasantness coming out into the room. Here, if I can just undo that quickly, this is the cap for the waste outlet, but it doubles up as a cap and a dosing system. So your toilet or chemical additive will go in there. There's measuring scales on the inside. I don't know if you can see that. The camera's picking that up very well. But that allows you to put the right amount of chemical additive in, and then you will pour that in, screw the cap back on, and you're ready to go as far as that's concerned. And this will swivel round that way for emptying, and then you would hold it up to pour it out of here, and press that button, and that allows air in so the waste can flow out smoothly and quickly, more importantly. But we'll cover that on another episode. I'll do an episode of having to dispose of your waste and all that lot, and also a review of how I feel this chemical toilet is, you know, how good it is, whatever. So we'll screw that back together. We'll pretend that we've put all the chemical additive in, and then we'll put the top back on and have a look at the features on the top half. Okay, I've refitted the top half. Let's have a look at a couple of the features. What we've got right at the, or towards the back of the toilet, is a little flap here, and if you just pull that open and open it, there's the flush pump, clean water level indicator, and obviously where you fill it up. And when it comes to filling it up, they supply you with a funnel which goes in there and just helps you direct the water in so you get less splashing about. And then once you've put, this is just for clean water, and then once you finish, you take that off and then put your cap back on, and that contains water and stops anything dropping in it which might mess the system up a bit. And the idea is that if you lift the toilet seat up and the other seat, inside there's a little nozzle there, and as you pump this up and down, that will squirt a bit of water into the bowl system and just help with the whole thing working. So it's a manual pump. There are electric ones, but I've gone for the manual pump because it's a lot cheaper really. So that's what I've done there. And of course the seat is exactly the same as it would be on a domestic seat, and obviously a lid to contain it even more, you know, for modesty reasons, I suppose, more than anything. On the front there, as I featured, there's that level indicator, and I will cover that again another time, just tell you sort of how long the toilet's lasting with a single person on the boat using it mainly. But what I'm going to do now is probably fill it all up with water and get it ready, and well, obviously I'm not going to feature me using it, but I'll certainly let you know what I think of it and how good it is and how practical it is. But so far it seems a reasonable quality product. It's not as tough and durable as maybe a domestic toilet would be, or a domestic toilet would be anyway, but it's pretty good. Everything seems to work so far, and I've got everything in the kit. Now what also comes with the kit are some chemical additive. This comes free with it. You get a small amount, probably enough to do 2 or 3 fills of the toilet, and that is eco-friendly or environmentally conscious fluid for the waste tank. So you put that into your waste tank first with a little bit of water, like I was saying, to get it going, but also you get this pink one, which is an aqua rinse plus, as they call it, and this is a water treatment. This is a pre-treatment, and that is for the flush part of it. And as far as I can tell, all it does really is just like a deodorizer, just to make the room smell a bit more pleasant. So what I'll do now is I'll probably commission the toilet, we'll fill it all up with water, put all the chemicals in, and yeah, I'll probably let you know what I think of it or how good it is. So the instructions are pretty clear, mainly pictorial. They're in every language under the sun. But what I'll do is I'll see how I cope with a chemical toilet, because I must admit I'm not a big fan of the camping toilets at all, but this one seems pretty good. And yeah, we'll do a review on it, particularly when it comes to emptying it out, and any problems I might have with it I shall feature as well. But so far, yeah, it all looks pretty good. It looks pretty good, and it looks pretty durable. When I take the top off it, there are a few sort of nooks and crannies that might hold dirt or, you know, horribleness or bacteria or whatever. But you can always take these tops off, take them outside, literally jet wash them to clean through any nasty places, let them dry, and then bring them back on the boat. You're not restricted to anything that's permanently fixed down. Like I say, and they're relatively cheap. So after a while, if you've decided it's getting a bit too much to clean up properly, you can just go out and get another one. And I'll probably invest in a spare holding tank anyway for it, for when the family comes along with me on the trips, and that should help us cope. So yes, next thing to do is commission it up properly, and I will report back on what I think of the Thetford Porta Potty excellence. Well, that's it for another episode, and fitting the toilet brings us one step closer to making the boat more usable. In the next episode, we'll be back in the kitchen trying to commission the cooker. But if you like what you've watched so far, why not subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. But in the meantime, take care, and I'll see you soon.